tell you when we're live. What's good, people? Welcome back to London Boy Podcast. It's your boy Vinny. I'm back again with my boy David. David, what's going on, man?
Hey man, what's up? We haven't been on here for a long time. We've just been grinding, doing our own stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's
But we're jumping back on.
trust me. Yeah, man, it's been a minute. I've been busy in my life. You've been busy in your life. And to be honest with you,
Yeah,
when I'm sort of the way I'm grinding on my own life, I feel like if I'm not achieving certain things in my own life, I don't really want to be talking about success and motivation unless I'm practicing what I'm preaching. You know what I mean?
yeah, because you don't want to be front line on this bullshit, you know.
Exactly. I don't want to
You
be
want to
cap.
actually, you want to give some proof.
Exactly. I want to have a leg to stand on. I don't want to be capping out here, man. Don't want to be lying, you know. But yeah, let's introduce the topic today. The title is going to be the Roadman mental illness in the UK.
It's a funny title, so
Yeah.
hopefully you guys enjoy this.
Cool. So when I say like roadman mental illness, I'm not I'm not gonna go into the mental health spectrum because that's a different video. But I'm gonna talk about this whole this roadman UK culture that you see being pushed a lot in the media. Yep. So today we're going to be talking about the roadman mental illness. So what do you think of that title, man? The roadman mental illness.
Well, it's catchy. It's definitely catchy.
It's catchy.
When we mean roadman sort of mental illness, we're not talking about mental health issues. We're talking about a different subject, but it's obviously just the culture and the mentality that is portrayed in UK culture as well as some other European cultures and like in America as well. So
Exactly.
this criminal lifestyle that's
Mhm.
glamorized by media and all these publications to look like it's an attractive lifestyle when in reality it's not.
Exactly, man. So yeah, it's not about mental health at all. That would be a different video. It's literally a like you just mentioned, David. It's a universal thing. You mainly see it portrayed in the Western world in films and media and stuff like that. But we're gonna talk about how it's sort of affected people in the UK.
Hmm.
And all right then. So let's sort of break it down so people can understand it more. Cool. When someone says the word roadman or like hood rat, gangster, whatever, what do you think? Like, what would you define as a roadman? First of all.
Okay, so for me, it's someone that's influenced by music videos that are popular or trendy, let's just say, and people think the lifestyle is what they want. You know, so for example, they might have designer clothes or beautiful women around them and nice things around them, and then people that come sort of like from a impoverished sort of like a more of a poverty background or more of a working class background, they think, oh, this lifestyle is the lifestyle that they need, you know. So they
Exactly.
start sort of acting like they're um, how can I say this? Like it's like a role model. They start acting like they're role model, you know.
Mm, I agree with that. So when you mention a roadman, like the stereotype will be someone wearing like a Nike tracksuit, like from top to bottom. Maybe
Well,
some.
not physical appearance. Anyone can wear anything.
I get it, but I'm talking about stereotypes. Stereotype.
Yes.
So the stereotype will be someone often wearing a Nike tracksuit from top to bottom with like is it a man bag or like a side pouch?
Mhm.
That's where they usually keep all their like cash and drugs and whatever in there. And usually they're antisocial, like stink of weed and sell drugs. So that's the stereotype. But the reality is like you said, someone from like an impoverished background that is influenced by violence, influenced by music videos, influenced by gang lifestyle and culture and stuff, and basically lives their life in accordance to that image. So they live their everyday life trying to portray that image that there's some, what wannabe Scarface, big shot, basically. You know.
Mm. And also, I've seen kids that are quite well off and sort of come from sort of like middle class or even upper class backgrounds, also outline them sort of like Roadman as well, because they see it on the media and they see all these guys on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, TikTok, and
Mm.
they live this lifestyle and they end up wanting to copy it because their lifestyle, these kids' sort of lifestyle is so catered for, and I don't really have any role model to sort of look up to. They sort of look up to these guys on social media and be like, okay, these guys are stealing and doing all of this stuff and selling drugs. I'm going to copy them and sort of be cool like them, you know?
And
So,
those what you mentioned, the middle class rich kids copying that. It's not. I don't even think it's about the role model side of it. I think that this whole roadman thing started because of people were just stuck in a situation, tired of living like a life in poverty. So they started selling drugs, joining gangs and whatnot. But I feel like now, because of the media and because of music videos and whatnot, it's become so popular that these sort of middle class kids and that, people that have nothing to do with the lifestyle copy it because it's a cool factor, man. I feel like it's become a cool factor now, you know.
exactly what I was saying is they could see it on social media, they think it's
Yeah,
cool, they think it's trendy, and they copy it.
exactly. But it's even when you look at the music videos and you see them wearing expensive watches and flashy cars, like no disrespect, yeah, to anyone, yeah, because at the end of the day, we're all human. No one is infallible. But like, what don't you think it's a bit weird how they're driving fancy cars in the music video and wearing an expensive watch, but the video is being filmed in like some council estate in Brixton?
Yeah,
You know what I mean, bro?
yeah, that's what it is. That's funny.
So the majority of those videos, man, they're all cap, bro. It's all an image, man. When you're releasing content like us, it's all about catching people's eyes, catching people's attention.
Yeah. Well, anything in the rap scene from when it's like early rap, so in the 80s and 90s, it's all about fronting. It's all
Yeah,
about perceiving an image to look bigger and better than you actually are, you know?
yeah, man.
And
It's
because we
all
have, and because everyone has sort of like a platform to sort of share and social and sort of everyone can see what everyone else is doing. People sort of have sort of like an attitude problem, you know,
mm,
where this sort of mentality of being sort of like a wannabe thug is sort of quite common now.
exactly, man. And this whole like wannabe thug roadman thing, it's not new. Even though it might seem new, it's not. When you really think of
No,
it probably started with Tupac or probably started with NWA in America, yeah. Even
yeah,
the UK, like in 2010, like there was K Coke, there was all these other rappers before quote unquote drill became popular. So this whole
mm,
sort of roadman thing has always been around, but now all of a sudden everyone wants to be a roadman. Everyone wants to be cool, Everyone wants to be a gangster.
mm.
Alright, cool. But from people listening so far, we've spoken about what it's about, the image, what it looks like. Cool. So why are we calling it a mental illness then?
Okay, so the reason we're calling it a mental illness is because people get influenced quite easily by what
Mhm.
they see in front of them. They get perceived that it's the lifestyle that they want and they
Mhm.
need, but in reality, it ends up causing more harm than good, you know?
Exactly, man.
So, most of these music videos and most of these people that have sort of like a large platform are
Mhm.
in the media. usually they're fronted. They're basically just pretending to be a certain lifestyle to sell records to get some money, but they don't really care about the fans or giving a good influence to younger people. And then younger people see this lifestyle on their phones or TV or whatever, and then they copy it.
Mm.
And then they end up going into a bad circle and just end up ruining their life. But it's also, again, for example, with poverty again as well. Some schools, some sort of councils, and some areas they don't really help children
They
and
don't.
teenagers with learning or trying to improve. So a lot of these kids that are sort of young,
They
they
take to
see
the
these older
streets.
guys, think they're rich, so maybe got some nice watch and some nice clothes,
Mm.
and then maybe drug dealers, and then they get these kids involved and do like running, for example, like runners,
So you
and
could.
uh, and then it ends up just getting a big circle, and then more and more trouble, and it's more and more shit
So you
basically
could.
happens,
So
and it
you
ends
could
up ruining their
say.
life as well.
So you could say they sort of manipulate kids into joining like these gangs and sort of activity because they see that the
Yeah,
kids have no other sort of role model, no other sort of alternative to it.
yeah, especially when there's no, yeah, especially when there's no positive role model, and you think education is like the worst thing in the world, you know?
Mm.
So,
So let me get it started. So the reason why I'm calling it sort of roadman mental illness is, you know, you hear a lot in these, a lot of these music videos, a lot of these drill videos. They're talking about, you know, people like killing each other, right?
yeah.
Like they ran down the ops and all that fucking crap, yeah. And then oh, I see it for myself, man. You see like little kids, yeah, 16, 17 year olds listening to that drill music, and like you said, some of them are not even from the hood. Some of them are from middle class backgrounds, yeah. And
Mm,
they're talking like they're starring in Top Boy.
mm,
You know, for those that don't know, Top Boy is another show that portrays the whole like roadman thing that goes on in London. You know, and yeah, the whole mental illness it comes from that influence. You know, like fucking, you know, you're talking about all that sort of negativity and people getting influenced from it, and then people try and act out these music videos, and that's both from people from poverty backgrounds and people from fucking middle class backgrounds because they're so like when you're 16, 18, yeah, you're not really your mind hasn't fully developed yet.
mm,
Your brain hasn't fully developed yet, so that's why when you see the guy with a flashy car in your estate and you perceive him as rich, you wanna be part of that. You know, you wanna drive the fast cars, have the money, get the women. But little do
mm,
they know, even if you are making fast money from doing whatever you're doing, it's only temporary and it's all a front. You know.
mm. Like, even if you do have those things, you have the NASCAR, you're in that lifestyle, it becomes just regular, it becomes boring. Like, it's like having a shiny new object, yeah? The shine disappears once you have it for a while, you know?
Mhm.
It isn't what it seems to be.
Exactly. All right. Cool. So we sort of defined it. We got our definition there. Now let's talk about what causes the problem. I know you spoke about it briefly, but I want to hear about what factors like cause these kids to fall into that sort of trap.
Okay, so the first main thing is just bad influences. So, for example, it could be they lived on an estate where they see these gangs and these older guys, and these older guys introduce them into the lifestyle, and they end up getting into that lifestyle, and basically it's just rinse and repeat, different
Yeah,
generations. It's
it's
just
a
exactly the same thing happening over and over again.
it's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
yeah, it's just the same thing happening over and over again. And then we also have, for example, people that look at these music videos and lifestyle and think it's cool and they want to act like that, be like that. So they end up copying that sort of culture and end up being quite toxic because of it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that, but you might not agree. You might agree, but one factor that is prevalent and is vital to this sort of pandemic with the Roadman pandemic is the lack of a father figure in the house.
I don't think like to us there's single parents that are mom, dads, or whatever, and some of them are doing an excellent job,
Nah,
you
trust
know.
me, bruv. Like,
But
trust me. Let me give you an example. Yeah, I'm sure you can relate to it, but there were times when when I lived in London, I was getting sort of influenced by certain kids that they thought that shit was cool. Bro, the minute I come home when I was 15, 16, stinking of weed, yeah, my dad fucking he slapped the shit out of me, bruv. You know what I
yeah,
mean,
it's the
bro?
same.
Like the father
It's the same.
figure.
Yeah, it's the same for good moms as well. You know, like
Yeah, but I'm
I
telling
know
you,
some moms are soft on their children or whatever, but I know some kids that were sort of had single moms and that when they did sort of get in trouble, the moms would fucking slap them off and
yeah, but I get that, but I know you might not agree, but I feel like a woman can't raise a man on their own like a man can raise a man, and I feel like the father figure that's the like authority, the authoritative role model in the house, you know, because a lot.
I reckon it's the other way around. I reckon a woman can't raise a girl
Nah,
and a man can't raise a boy.
nah, I think it takes both. A functional family is a man, is father and mother present in the kid's life, man. Because yeah, you might say single parents they, and this video isn't about single parents by the way. I'm just using it as an example. You could say there are single parents doing a brilliant job, but for the most part, like having a father and a mother is better than just having a mother. You know,
Yeah, it's beneficial.
it's
Yeah.
more beneficial. And then from people I've seen growing up, and then from stories I hear, usually when the kid from a single mother household goes out doing what they're doing and then coming back, they're giving their mum like wads of cash, and the mum's not asking any questions, bruv. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
the mum's not asking any questions. She's taking the money, no questions asked. And then when it falls into, you've seen that gang. Have you seen Gangland documentary?
Hmm.
When the kid ends up fucking becoming a statistic and getting stabbed up and killed, the mum says, "Oh, I didn't know he was in that life. He was a sweet kid. He was a good kid." But nah, they don't know what's going on, bro. But if the father figure was there, the father figure, bro, if that was my son, boy, he wouldn't be going out thinking he's a big man. But yeah, man, in my opinion, I feel like a lack of father figure contributes immensely to kids falling into that sort of dysfunctional lifestyle, you know?
And sometimes it's even the father sometimes that may even live that lifestyle and the kid can copy the dad into that lifestyle too.
Yeah,
I've seen that before.
but that's just bad parenting then.
Yeah, it is bad parenting, but like, I've seen that lifestyle happen before. So
It's the thing, but yeah. So what other factors can cause a kid to fall into that sort of gangster, like thug lifestyle? So we,
I'd say sort of lack of education. So for
yep.
example, the education system lets them down. There's
Mm,
a lot of schools across the country and teachers and stuff like that.
you're right. You know.
Usually the classes are quite big, like 30, maybe even 40 kids. And sometimes the teachers just don't have enough time to sort of dedicate to each kid. And then that kid ends up probably falling behind a his or her education. And usually sort of feels frustrated and sort of angry because they're not doing as well as their classmates. and then
Yeah.
they see this stuff on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. These guys live these lifestyle, and I think, oh, if I want to be successful in my later years, I just need to copy what these guys do.
Mhm.
You know. So I feel like it's the education system too.
Yeah. You
I think
mentioned.
personally, I think classes should be like 10 to 15 kids max. But
You're right. You're right. You mentioned the education system, so I'm gonna add on to that a bit. So I don't think it's a thing about large classes because the same way there's people that become screw ups in school is the same way that there's people that go through school with flying colours. But
yeah,
I was having, I don't know if I was chatting to you about this, but I was chatting to my other friend about this. That classes, yeah, they should rearrange their school curriculum, and they should teach. Obviously, they should teach about finances, but they should also teach about morals. They should have a class that teaches people about morals, man, and ethics.
mm,
Because I feel like a lot of these kids that go through school and they're not taught about morals and ethics, and then their parents are probably not teaching them the right example either. So
mm,
then they fall into this pattern, this vicious lifestyle. But if there was a lesson if there was a class in school that teaches you about the importance of the family and the importance of like treating people well and not falling into that sort of lifestyle and just being a good person in general, I think it will make a big difference. Because like what's the square root of pi gonna do to help you in life? You know what I mean?
mm.
Like what's chemistry gonna do? Like you put two things together, unless you want to become a doctor. What's chemistry gonna help a little kid do? Take the right path in life. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I just feel like there's a lot of useless topics they teach in school, and they should just change the curriculum a little bit to suit like, reality.
Yeah, so basic life skills. I
Exactly.
always really liked cooking at
Mm.
school.
Yeah, I loved cooking.
Yeah, I loved cooking at school. I think that's a really good skill to learn.
Hmm.
Also, I love geography as well. Like, I always love learning about the world and different cultures and all that stuff. I always find it intriguing.
Exactly, but I'm sure there wasn't like a morals class or like an ethics class.
No, no,
Yeah, man. So is there any other causations or any other factors that cause this sort of issue for like most kids?
I think some kids get entitlement. So a lot of kids, their lifestyle's quite easy. They're quite catered for with everything they've got, and their life is just boring. There's no sort of like drive or passion to strive for better because they've got everything around them.
So basically,
But
mm,
but they've got they see these things online and they want to act like that and be like that. So, for example, I had someone in my college who was his mom was a lawyer and his dad owned like a scaffolding company.
mm-hmm,
And the parents were quite wealthy. He had pretty much everything catered for him. He was getting top grades, like everything was done.
mm-hmm.
He was a really smart guy. And he ended up in the second year, ended up quitting 3 weeks to the end of the course because he just got bored of it. And he was wanting to do sort of like drug dealing and money fraud and all of this extra stuff because it was more exciting to him to do that lifestyle than just sort of get mom and dad to help him with everything.
So from that sort of example you gave, it's basically, in that sort of entitlement, like these kids, they're not taking life seriously.
No, 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 I just think it's fun and games.
They just think it's all fun and games. Oh, my parents. I'm gonna fall back on that. Oh, let me go and sell this. Let me go and do that. Until something tragic happens, and then they realize, oh crap, I should have taken life a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, the guy I know went to prison, so
So he comes from such a middle class wealthy background, and he still managed to fuck it up, to screw things up. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's silly, man.
So
Have you got any other
yeah.
examples of what might factors that might cause this sort of roadman lifestyle illness thing?
Honestly, I think the main cause I see is just media.
The media, that's probably the number one cause. You know.
It's just the number one cause. Honestly, I think it's more than 50%. I think it's like 75% of the
Mm,
main thing. It's just like obviously there's good media out there, there's good outlets that give out positive energy and positive messages and positive mindset. But there's also quite a lot of negative mindset and negative energy where, oh, if you are in a gang and got this and that, it's a cool lifestyle, like look at what we got, blah blah
mm,
blah, like all the girls and women around us, etc. Blah blah blah. But we're trying to increase sort of positive sort of mindset, especially with this podcast as well.
yeah, man. So
Just
there's
to give off sort of a positive vibe because there's ways to get money quite easily, okay, without doing drug dealing and illegal activities. And it's always good to educate yourself too. It's not nerdy. It's not uncool. The more you educate yourself, the better you're gonna be in the future.
yeah, man. It's like, do you want to hear? It's a little side note when you mention about the positive influences that we're doing. Um,
Mm.
I don't know if I've told you before, but I've got a friend that went to my school in London who's he's a famous YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
So he became a famous YouTuber, and then we were just talking on Snapchat, and he sort of got into property, and I basically told him like what I've been doing in property in the recent years, and then he must have shared our conversation and stuff, yeah. And because he's got such a big following, like people started adding me, like asking, how do you get into that sort of thing? And
Mm.
I sort of gave them what I know, and also I put them onto this channel as well.
Mm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you're doing positive things, the message gets out there, and more people gravitate to you. You know.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Rather than
I was gonna say with this video or podcast, like roadman mentality or mental illness,
yeah,
it is a real mental
it
illness.
is, bro. It is. All right, cool. So now that we've highlighted the influences, yeah, the causation of it. Now let's talk about the damage it's causing. So that's the real mental illness part of it, you know.
Mm.
So, right, you want to start off like what damages is this lifestyle causing for everyone, not just for one person?
Okay, so for example, so I'm a work, I sort of do like managerial work. So for example, like hiring people and sort of making sure they're on time, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
In the last, like say, 2, 3 months I've been there,
Mm.
I've met hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah.
One of them stood out to me. There was a guy. He was a nice guy. He's a nice kid. I think he was 19 or 20,
Mm.
and was going through his sort of like interview and application process, and he said like, "Oh, I need to speak to you outside for a minute."
Yeah.
So I finished off his application, sort of spoke to him outside, and he said, "Oh, well, I kind of lied to you about sort of having no criminal offences. I've got criminal offences. I got caught with a knife and was in a fight with a knife when I was younger, when I was 16, and because of that." History that he had, the thing that he went through, is carrying on
Yeah.
into his adulthood.
Mhm.
So like, I know this guy was a nice guy. I knew he'd be working hard. Like he would be decent, right? I know he would be, but because he's got that history, and people like I can hire him, but there's also the heads that deal with everything and check everything, and if
Yeah.
they see that, they're just going to say no automatically. So
So because of that,
Like,
so because he
because
chose that lifestyle, he made a mistake. Now it's affecting his career progression.
it's affected his career. It's going to affect his life for the rest of his working career until he's retiring. You know, until
Yeah,
he's 60, 68, 65, or whatever it is, you know.
yeah, man.
So,
That criminal record ain't
it's,
being wiped off anytime soon. You know.
no, it's not really wiped off anytime soon. So, um, like, if you're going to live that lifestyle and you get caught, it's going to screw up your whole entire life. You ain't going to get anywhere. Like, I wanted to hire this guy. I really wanted to because he's a lovely guy.
Mm.
But because he had this bad history, I couldn't. So I felt bad for him. But you just have to move on.
Cool. So that's a good example of of the damage it's causing. So it damages your career progression. You know,
Yeah,
and your sort of like that stigma of like you being a criminal or you committing a crime that sticks with you. You know. So
the
like
rest of life.
yeah, man. So the example I want to give is quite simple one. You know, the damage it causes is that people are getting stabbed out here, man. People are getting killed. You know,
Mm.
it's like I don't really want to talk about people I know that have been stabbed or people I know. You know, I don't really want to talk about personal stuff that I know. But
Yeah,
if you look at the news, man, there's someone getting stabbed in London every other week. You know, and
yeah, offshot as well.
or shot, but predominantly stabbed in it. And the main causation of it is that back to the back to the influence part. They're too busy being caught up in these gangs. They're fighting for area codes or postcodes that their mums don't own, that their mums renting off the government. They get caught up in those little petty quabbles, and then they see their enemy catches them, or they catch the enemy, and they're having like fucking knife fights and killing each other. And
Mm.
these are like 16 to 18 year olds, bro. Even probably realistically 16 to 25 year olds are in that sort of cycle, you know.
I've seen some guys that are in the mid 30s doing that shit as well.
Yeah, but
So,
people like that are just bums in it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
People, if you're in your
yeah,
mid, bro, if you're in your mid 30s and you're still repping the gang, bro, you need to sort your life out in it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but the sad truth is people, families like these kids have good parents. Yeah, their parents are good people, and they're losing their children to fucking knife crime. Innit?
Mm.
You know, it's fucking
Yeah, because
sad.
if you think about it, if you get into a fight, knife crimes, you're gonna be either yourself, you're gonna get injured or die, or you're gonna kill someone else or you're severely injured.
Exactly. So
But the thing is, you're affecting just not someone, but their
you're
family, their
affecting the whole
friends, and
family. Yeah.
all that stuff. It's a big role and effect, you know.
Yeah,
And
man.
it's the same for you as well. Like if you're gonna get into a fight and let's say you pass away, your family are gonna get upset, your friends are gonna get upset. It's gonna cause more and more trouble. So the
Exactly.
best thing to do, honestly, is just put down the knife, chuck it in the bin, and just ignore this gang affiliated stuff, all this beef, and just move on with it. You know?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because the other side of if you flip the coin, the people doing the stabbing, well, they'll get caught eventually. They go in prison.
Yeah, and
You know
then
what I
their
mean?
life is fucked.
So what? You're gonna go to prison for 20 years, 25 years for your whole life sentences and whatnot. Why? Because you chose to stab a kid over some gang related beef that you probably didn't even start, and over an area that your mum or your dad definitely doesn't own property in that area, or what, and doesn't own the postcode or doesn't own the road and whatnot. And basically, you're fighting over
Honestly, people
pettiness. You know.
people that use knives and guns and stuff like that, that's fucking pussies, guys. Like, what you're affecting someone's life, yeah, and their
Mm.
family, and then you're fucking up your own life as well when you eventually get caught. Like, okay, you think you may never get caught, but you will,
Oh, you will get
and you
caught.
just
Trust
fuck,
me.
and yeah,
Well,
you just fucked your life. Like, and what, you're just gonna be a bum in prison? You're not earning any money in prison? Like, what? Like, come on.
exactly. So there's two sides of that coin. You're ending someone's life, and you're causing massive damage to their family, and then you're causing damage to your own life because you're gonna end up going to prison and wasting your life away. You know.
Yeah, it's being a fucking bum.
Cool. So far we highlighted two damages: the criminal record aspect of it, and then the knife crime aspect of it. Have you got a third point you want to make of the damage it causes?
Okay, so the damages it causes also mental health as well.
Yeah.
So, for example, people that have been attacked and survived, but also scare or worry about going out and going to certain areas, etc., etc. You know, so there's also the mental health, as well as like people that um, have been influenced by gang culture and potentially they trying to escape from it, but they can't. You
Yeah.
know, they're trying to do better, but there's influences around them, there's people around them trying to make them do stuff. And if you're dirt poor and got literally nothing in your bank account, nothing in your fridge or cupboards, then yeah, it will be very tempting to go and
Mm.
sell this or do this for someone,
Yeah, man. But back
just
to
get
what you
some
said,
money.
the mental damage. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Yeah. I've got two examples. So when I was living back in Camden, yeah, I've been in two scenarios that have caused a bit of mental damage for me. The first scenario, like I was 15, yeah, and I've just finished my GCSEs, and then I just went out with one of my old friends. We were hanging around in a park in Islington, yeah, and then these two kids that got kicked out of school, they come to us. When they give like false conversation,
Hmm.
and then like, they were trying to ask me what phone I've got and whatnot. So then they walked away to sort of talk about what they were gonna do. And my friend thought it was all fun and games, and I said to him, I was like, nah, man, they're gonna try to rob us. Let's get out of here. So we walked to the end of the park, and then these two boys they come up to us saying, "Oi, oi, where you going? Where you going?" And then one of them, like, he pulled out a fucking machete on me,
Hmm.
and he started swinging the machete at me and stuff, trying to basically intimidate me. But I never gave up my phone. But
Hmm.
maybe because like the way I was making noise and stuff, like I was screaming, I was saying like, "Listen, like you don't have to do this," and I think I was sort of attracting attention.
Hmm.
So I sort of got away with it in that scenario. And then the second scenario, when I was 16, it was at the start of the year. I got mugged by three boys in front of my old block. It
Hmm.
was like a 3-on-1 attack, and they managed to take my phone. But those two events, I've never sort of forgotten about it. I don't, now when I say if I was to go to London, I'd avoid certain areas just
Hmm.
because I've had a bad experience there.
Hmm.
So it's
That's
affected.
what I was saying earlier on as
Mm,
well. Like, when people have been a victim, they usually sort of get scared to go to certain areas or be like even having like a reference to um, that trouble point in their life. They have sort of a mental sort of barrier, you
yeah,
know.
exactly. So you could say it's PTSD. You could say fear and whatnot. But yeah, when you go through those sort of experiences, man, they stick with you.
Hmm.
So mental side. Any other damages it causes? Because I know it causes a lot of damages, man.
To the victim or
No, no, just living that lifestyle, whether you want to live it or the damages you're causing to someone else. Like, so,
you're also disgracing your family as well.
very true,
That's
very true.
disgracing your family. Like if you live that lifestyle, you put and you get caught, then your family's gonna be known as that son or that daughter. They gone to prison, they did this, they did that. It's been shame on your family.
That's true,
And
you
you
know.
think about it, you think about your mom and dad, like, or your sister, or your brother, like, mm, you're going to be known as that person who did that thing, and now you're going to be sort of embarrassing about the neighborhood or whatever, you know. So it's,
Yeah, there's a whole
yeah,
load
yeah,
of
just
shame that
don't
comes
be
with it.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a whole lot of shame and disgrace that comes with it, man.
yeah,
Cool, and I know
yeah.
there's plenty other damages as well. Like, here's another damage it causes. I feel like it causes damage to your sort of like perception of reality.
Mm,
Because I'll give you an example. Like, you know, you were saying that a lot of these people that live that lifestyle, they come from impoverished backgrounds.
mm,
So in their sort of mindset, they can't just get a 9 to 5 and then progress through a career. They feel like their options are limited to being a footballer, being a musician, or being like a gang member slash drug dealer.
mm,
And I feel like they live their life thinking that there's no other alternative. So in that case, you're only just damaging yourself because, like, look at, for example, like, look at me and you. Like, we're not multi-millionaires yet, yeah, but like we're on the grind, and now we know a lot, and we've got the freedom. Like, when restrictions are lifted and whatnot, if we want to book a holiday, we can book a holiday. You know what I mean? We're not
mm,
we're not limited to the pavement, bro. We're not limited to the block. Like, if you want to buy a new car tomorrow, one of us want to buy a new car tomorrow, we got the freedom to do that. And
mm,
we haven't made our money legally, bro. We've been on the legit grind. And we're not musicians, we're not fucking footballers, bro. We're just regular people just doing our thing. But I feel like these people, they think if they're not selling drugs, if they're not this and they're not that, they're gonna be broke. But trust me, man, that's not. That's a very warped, stupid reality you're living, bro. It's not true, man. That's not true at all.
no, 100% agree.
Yeah, man. All right, cool. Now that we've spoken about the damages, let's sort of talk about ways to improve, ways to solve the problem. You know.
Mm. So, okay, so I would start off by literally put the knife, all the weapons, all the drugs, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
put them
put
in,
it down.
just straight away. That's the first thing that people should do.
Put it down. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, just put it down. The second thing is people that are bad influences, the bad apples around, just cut them off. Just cut them off, block them, just do whatever you have to, you know. Even if you have to move area or whatever. If you can move area, then great. If you can't, then just cut them off, just ignore them, just blacken them,
Yeah, man.
just ghost them, just do anything to get away from them.
Yeah, and if you're a youth and there's an older in your estate or whatever trying to influence you, bro, talk to an adult about it, man, because that's
Mm.
because there are scenarios where people are being manipulated by older people to join gangs, in it. So you need to talk to someone as well.
Yeah, and also someone that is that you can trust with the subject in hand.
Yeah, man. And another sort of solution, you've got to change the media that you consume.
Mm.
Rather than consuming fucking drill music and fucking Call of Duty and death all the time, consume some good media. Like, listen to a motivational video. Like, read a good book. You know, like, start reading positive things. Start watching positive things. Innit? Like, what? Why are you living this negative life? Like, in listening to negativity for, man. You're only gonna live a miserable, toxic life. You know.
Mm. Mm. 100, man, 100.
Yeah. What about you? Have you got any other solutions?
To sort of prevent and stop.
Yeah, to stop
Uh,
this issue.
okay, so I reckon, yeah, just cut the bad food. When I mean food, I mean like bad sort of
Toxic.
bad situations around you to try and calm
Yeah, man, 100%. And another thing, yeah, people might not agree or they might agree, but from what I've noticed is that the way people get dragged into it is that a lot of people at school, people that are a bit of the rebels, they want to rebel against the
them.
teachers. Like they join a group of people that smoke like cigarettes and stuff, and then it goes from cigarettes to weed, and then they think, shit, where can I get more weed? Then they meet the drug dealers, and then they meet the gangs and that. So where I'm leading to is that if you smoke, if you've got any vices, whether it be smoking, drinking, whatnot, cut that shit out, man. You know,
Mm.
because who if you're gonna be with smokers, who you gonna be with? Other smokers. If you're gonna be a drug taker, who you gonna be with? Other drug takers. And then what do you think drug takers and shit live a positive lifestyle? They're gonna know.
Mm.
They're not gonna know people that are deeper involved, and then deeper involved, and then deeper involved, and then sooner or later you're gonna be involved. So if you've got any vices, cut them out as well. So what do you think of that point right there, man? Yo. So like I wanted to say as well, to solve this issue, like families have to stick together.
Mm.
Like stop fucking having kids with every woman and then just busting out, like you know what I mean, bruv. Stop beating,
Yeah,
skeeting, and then fucking stop shooting up the club, innit? Like,
yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
if you're gonna shoot up the club, make sure it's with the right woman, and you're gonna stick together and raise the child together, because your
Yeah,
kid needs a positive influence.
yeah, and also, when that does happen, usually single parent households, the kids usually ends up having sort of a bit more difficulties than traditional sort of two parent household.
Yeah, they grow up more
So
angry. They got developmental issues, social issues.
yes, yeah.
So please, guys, like stop shooting up the club. And if you was to shoot up the club, make sure it's with the right woman, and you're gonna stick together. And even if you don't get along, do your part to be involved in the kid's life.
Mm. So I think what we should do is just conclude
You wanna
for today.
conclude?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I hope like you learned something. I hope our bit of positivity can make a difference to your life or to anyone's life that you know. And if you know someone involved in that life and you want to help them, please share this video. Hopefully they might learn something. Maybe they won't, but yeah, thank you for tuning in. And yeah, tell people about this channel. We're going to talk about more social issues and more motivational stuff, but even when we talk about social issues like this, we're going to put a positive spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, guys,
Well,
thank you for tuning in to London Boy Podcast. I will see you back again. Peace.